Welcome back. Um, it is week 4 of my trip, still in Japan, and I started this conversation over on Instagram with a live, and I left it up on my profile. And apparently, people aren't catching a clue at all. So, PSA: stop tagging me in the dumb post. And the dumb post is Japan and South Korea offering black men $75,000 to come get someone pregnant. It's a lie. It has been independently verified on the Ministry of Health Japan website. It's been independently discredited on not only the Japan Ministry of Health, it's also been discredited by the Japanese government, the South Korean government, and multiple sources. You just want something to talk about so you can get some clicks and some likes. Stop being petty. First and foremost, I want to continue to show you some other sources that I have found. And then I want to go ahead and link them in the description because it's not even true. And these posts are all fake. And it's kind of annoying that I keep getting tagged in them. So it's stupid. Now, I'm just not for the childishness or the facts. As a matter of fact, I need to look up one of the sources. These things. So let's get back to the thing. Black influencers, Americans, women, and I'm deeply ashamed that they're Black women that have college degrees from accredited universities and professional standings that are spreading disinformation and rumors. Um, I have reached out to several Black influencers that are in Japan and have already said that this is a lie. I've met a couple of Black men from Brazil and Peru, United States that have been in Japan for multiple decades, and this has never been a reality. As a matter of fact, let's go into the history of Japan, as I got the beautiful background with me. Japan has been an isolated country for millennia from the West. Two, there is a stigma that is attached to their xenophobia. Japan likes to stay quiet, stay humble, keep moving. Even though that they have historically always been in conflict with Korea and China and other smaller nations, the effects of World War II and American men leaving babies across Asia, Vietnam, Korea, Japan, Cambodia, pick a place. Black men are notorious, and I'm Black. So what does that tell you? For oopsie daisies and going for cigarettes and milk and never coming back. So the issue that Japan is having is that the rumor, and I can trace where the rumor started, and I'll show you in a second. Let me, matter of fact, share my screen now. So the Japan Today, this was back in 2022, wants to give people an extra 80,000 yen. Wait for this to click up. So what I'm going to do is just help you because someone who can't do basic math or know what exchange rate is was an idiot. That's the number on the screen. $75,000? No, 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 dumbass. Is 500 bucks without the last $5.14. Japan's government is trying to give not even rent to Japanese people to have more kids. By the way, this article came out in 2022 in December. I don't know who thought 80,000 yen was going to come up to $75,000. Doesn't work like that. As a matter of fact, let's go back to Google and then I'll show you the math. So that's 12 million yen for a kid. The Japanese government isn't giving it to anybody. They're trying to give you $500. They're not giving you $75,000 for a kid. Japan would have to be in the last 100,000 people of their entire census before they got that desperate. Let's not be stupid. Let's be educated for a moment. So a lot of people quietly reach out to me and say, what's the difference between xenophobia and racism? Racism is a learned behavior that you dislike someone based on ethnicity, color of their skin, facial features, body types, language. You have an ism against them. Xenophobia is we hate everyone. If you're not of our homogeneous entity, you are the enemy. That's what xenophobia is. You can look up the definition if you want. Now, do they correspond and parallel each other? Yes. When Japan was influenced by white foreigners, they were like, oh, we still don't like you, but we're willing to accept you because we are doing what, kids? Business. Making babies isn't business. It's a natural reproductive function. Let's not go there. I have one of those in the comments and in a private message. So as we revert back to xenophobia, it took Admiral Perry blowing open the Bay of Yokohama and sinking every ship out there to get Japan to trade with America. Way back then. The Jesuits, the Italians, the Spanish, the Brits, and a lot of Europe have been trading already for a century or two with Japan. As a matter of fact, Kobe, Japan still has the old Traders District. It's a historical landmark. Nagasaki had, before World War II, the old historical district. Kumamoto, Japan still has their historical district. All throughout Japan, where daimyos and lords let foreigners come trade, you still have those areas. They're landmarks now. So when did this bubble crisis and population decline begin? We're stepping away from racism, xenophobia. We're going to the core root of this problem of birth rate in Japan and Western countries. When World War II ended, and a lot of the men that came back from the war were heavily diagnosed with what is now known as PTSD and post-war syndrome. A lot of them were either wounded, crippled, or just non-functional. So the call to arms was have as many babies as you can. Insert your stupid rap song, Have a Baby by Me, Baby Be a Millionaire. Well, the Japanese population quadrupled 300% in less than 20 years. The Japanese government at the time had a pilot program of tax incentives where they were giving tax breaks per child being born. So the obvious math is two parents, it takes two kids to replace the parents, boy and a girl. The tax break started from child 3 all the way up to 8. So that's when the housing market exploded in Japan because houses needed to be built to accommodate medium to large size families. Japan was stepping away from an agrarian society and military industrial complex that led up to World War II to a construction, education, and consumer product business market. You can look at it. Japan learned how to build shopping malls. They learned how to rebuild their rail systems. One of the most rail efficient systems in the world is Japan. And excuse me, it only multiplied from there when they hit the automotive industry and started shipping their vehicles everywhere. So the problem for this concept of Japan paying $75,000 for a black male when we are not the most desired race in Japan. Let's get back to racism. The Japanese and Southeastern Eastern Asian concept of beauty is fair to pale skin, like snow white skin if possible. They actually have bleaching agents in their lotion, shea butters, and creams for women and men to keep whitening the skin. Hi, I have a fun story about that, but we're not covering that today because I bought the wrong lotion back in 2005. So the issue becomes if Japan has predominantly been pushing this agenda of white skin, fair skin, and you can look historically at their art. Japan traditionally had paintings, wood sculptures, stone sculptures, masonry, and the architecture. Just look at the background image until they came in contact with Europeans. Once they made contact with Europeans, traditional Japanese music started to become classical European music, pianos, orchestras, you name it. Then, and moving away from the intricate wood structures that Japan was famous for, now you started having paintings that mirrored European greats. So, what makes you think, as a black male, fighting against 400 years plus of racial indoctrination by colonizers, that you are going to get the $75,000 check to come pop out a kid with no guarantee of residency, no guarantee of health care, and you need a visa to be in Japan anyway. But let's back up a second. Before we shoot everyone off in the foot right there, the culture of dating in Japan is not like what it is back home. To date in America, you could have a drink, go out for a dance, and be the prettiest guy in a room, and you can pull. Okay, that's a fair assessment. You can do that here in Japan. Quality doesn't always hang out at the club in Japan, especially the kinds of clubs that you would be comfortable at. So, qualifying questions. Can you find a website? Can you find an ambassador, a newsletter, or any official document from the Korean or Japanese government saying that they want you to come have kids here, where it's historically racist towards dark-skinned foreigners? As a matter of fact, history moment, the Okinawans and the Hokkaido indigenous residents aren't even considered Japanese by Japanese standards, and yet they speak Japanese. Let me explain. The Innu, which is northern Japan and Hokkaido, Amori, and other parts of Japan, are the darkest skinned Japanese in existence. The Japanese government has been on a campaign for the past 200 years to erase them from existence. Geneticists keep slapping them in the face saying you can't do that. Okinawans historically were their own Pacific island kingdom until Japan invaded, I believe, in the 1500s to the 1600s and indoctrinated them in Japan. You can't have it both ways. So let's get back to this black issue and making babies. Japan has already seen what the average black man is capable of based on the statistics that the United States government, CDC, and census puts out. Single parent households, prison rates, education levels, employment levels, savings, income, credit scores, you name it. America has no filter putting the African American community on blast and sharing with the world why at home we're considered garbage. So again, you 6 foot and abs and a prison record aren't coming to Japan anyway, because to get into the country, you can't have a criminal record. Also, Japan reports child support payments. So if you already had a baby in America and then you ran in Japan to get a $75,000 check, which you're not going to get anyway, they would still deduct child support out of your check here and ship it home against the terrible exchange rate. You were down 75% of every dollar going from Japan to America. You're up 75% of a dollar coming from America to Japan. What does that mean? That means the current exchange rate is 152 yen to the dollar. So statistically, every dollar you have, you are 52 cents up when you exchange your money to come shop in Japan, pay taxes, work, or live. So I'm repeating this for YouTube because people keep asking me, hey, you didn't do a video on YouTube. Here's your video. Hey, is it true? No, stop asking me. The problem with Japan is that the miraculous concept of humor and sarcasm don't apply here. French guy at the hotel in Tokyo told me while he was helping my group get their Disney tickets, how many Japanese people does it take to change a light bulb? I already knew the answer or a form of the answer. There I one and a ladder? None. Japan doesn't change. So they were stunned and they're like, what do you mean Japan doesn't change? Xenophobia is I don't like anyone. Racism is I don't like you because of certain features. Tolerance is the answer to xenophobia and racism. If you serve a job function, a societal function, community function, or organizational function, education function, medical function, Japan's main issue is functionality and usefulness. I'm not going to quote Boys in the Hood at you. You already know what line I'm talking about. Any fool can make one. Japan doesn't like fools. They got enough comedy that's terrible that Americans can understand. And that's including the comedy in English. So be educated. Don't tag me in the video or the post anymore because I'm about to go to war with the idiots and just put them on blast. Japan wants babies. Hint, Japanese babies. Not Korean, not Chinese, not Hindi, not Thai, not Laotian, not Cambodian. They want Japanese babies. Japan loves babies. They want their own babies. As a matter of fact, there was an article that popped up recently about friends getting married and having kids, but still having open marriages so they can date who they want. Yeah, Japan's getting that desperate. Two, the Japanese government recently released a dating app that requires a visa status and citizenship. You have to put your intentions to date, marry, and have kids in your profile description. Otherwise, you don't get approved to be in the search pool. Yeah, yeah, it's getting to that point. Not only that, keep in mind that when China, and if you're a Gen X boomer, you survived, you know, the late 70s to the early 90s. China had a one-child policy because they were experiencing a unprecedented um, population boom, explosion. Japan was winding down on their population explosion, and now we're at a point where I'm not sure China's right, but they still followed China anyway. So here's the problem. The school I was teaching at in Japan back in 2005, um, every hallway, when you look at the campus, you have the sophomores, juniors, and seniors. Seniors are closer to the teacher's room, sequential. So each floor had 3 to 4 classrooms. So the third floor had classes 1 through 4. They're community learning groups called kumis. So Ichikumi, high score math and science track. Nikumi, High academics, not math and science track, third track, fourth track. The average kids go Roku Nana, 5, 6, 7, second floor. 8 class and 9 class. Eighth class is the bottom of the academic success curve based on that school. 9 class, Q class, tight course. They are the physical athlete warlords of the school in every grade level. They are the best athletes. Best students depends on each individual child. Love them to death. Why is that relevant to this whole conversation? Functionality, where you fit in the community group, how you are a part of the community group. Japan is not chaos. I'm going to repeat that. Japan is not a chaotic country. They haven't been in a major escalated conflict since World War II. There are no public shootings. There is no high murder rate. Teen pregnancy is a minor problem in Japan, but abortion is guaranteed by choice under the universal healthcare system here, which is going to blow a lot of minds. So you can get pregnant in high school, give the baby up for adoption, and move on with your life. You can abort. In some prefectures, you don't even need your parents' permission. Next, which is really scary and terrifying, is that the age of consent in Japan is 13. There you go. No, I'm not a Drake fan anymore, but there's that. So when you are trying to wrap your head around viral TikTok trends, social media trends, I need you to unlearn all the bullshit and critically think your way through the entire conversation, because I'm tired of people automatically assuming based on a TikTok they see in China about black men, all black men Chinese encounter are going to act the same way. I'm tired of TikToks in Japan where they encounter a black man and then all black men are criminals and hoodlums. No, most of Japan's racism has been learned from white people. Yeah, and I can't stress that anymore. I can't make it any easier to understand. A lot of the intrinsic racism that Japan has adopted is based on European colonizers in the 1600s to the 1840s, and then on the racism of American military servicemen in Japan and their behavior during the 60s and 70s when Japan was still being occupied, 50s, 60s, and 70s, excuse me. And now, whatever the American media puts out disproportionately about Black crime rates and Black on Black crime gets bombasted across the internet. So, what I appreciate about the Japanese education system is individual identity and critical thinking based on research and experience versus I heard it from the grapevine and it's the truth because he said so. Nonsense of America. So, in the description below, I'm going to give you some videos, I'm going to give you some articles, I'm going to give you some reference points, and then I'm going to let you make your own decision. But my public service announcement is do not tag me in the video. I will block you, delete you, and move on with my life. If I lose followers for it, great. If I gain followers for telling the truth, great. Notice I am not affected by your existence. I appreciate you being a subscriber to my channel, looking at my social media, but I'm not here for the argument. The other reason why I'm annoyed is that some people were trying to take my personal situation and lame duck a joke into it. I'm married, happy, F off. So, with that being said, Japan is a great cultural experience for people seeking individuality, safety, growth, appreciating a struggle because not speaking Japanese and being here is a struggle. Japan's not for everyone. Is it one of the most safest countries on the planet? Yeah. Did someone that I know personally lose their passport and they got mailed to their hotel? Yeah. I lost a rail pass, ordered a new one. It's here. Now I got to go to Tokyo Station and activate it. Is the exchange rate great for traveling right now? Yeah. But again, Japan is not a cash cow for stupid people making bad decisions about bringing life into this world. No country is. Hell, I'm still annoyed with the German women that go on holiday to Haiti and other countries just to sleep with black men and go home. But I don't see y'all putting them on blast. So, deuces.